And we have put in place the strongest sanctions ever, which leave the Russian economy facing a decade of regression and its industry starved of any modern and critical technologies. There will be no impunity for these Russian crimes.
This is my first video update for Wednesday morning, coming to you from Nicosia, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news and all kinds of crazy statements coming out of the WEF. You heard Ursula von der Crazy there in the opening statement, though I think that her statement should be amended. This is what Ursula should say for this statement. This is the right statement that Ursula should have made. And we have put together the strongest sanctions ever, which leave the EU economy facing a decade of regression and its industry starved of any modern and critical technologies. There will be complete impunity for all EU leaders. All right, fixed it up for Ursula. That would have been the right statement for her to make, because her original statement was all projection anyway. That's the statement from von der Crazy. She's very upset with Russia, very upset with Putin. How dare they break free of the global unipolar world order. And Ursula wants everyone to know that they're going to pay a very heavy price. We had Klaus Schwab, of course, speaking at the WEF, though Klaus Schwab was kind of whining and complaining about how everyone makes fun of the WEF now. That was kind of an odd little speech from Schwab, but it does show that Klaus understands that the world is laughing at the WEF. He's well aware of the fact that people are making fun of the World Economic Forum in Davos. And so he went in front of the attendees and whined about that fact, which was very interesting.
We need to overcome the most critical fragmentation. And the most critical fragmentation is between those who take a constructive attitude and those who are just bystanders, observers, and even go into the negative, critical, and confrontational attitude. But the spirit of Davos is positive, is constructive.
But it's good to know that our mocking of Schwab and his event is getting through. He's reading and he's seeing all the videos, and he's reading all of the articles and the tweets and the posts mocking the work of the World Economic Forum. And I think that's a good sign. The fact that he's whining about it is a very, very good sign. We had the Prime Minister of Finland, the dancing queen, Sanna Marin. She was talking about how it's essential that Russia lose the war in Ukraine, because if Russia does not lose, then we're going to have more wars, World War III, and it's going to send a lesson to other countries that they can also invade and do whatever they want, which is an interesting statement coming from a leader of the collective West, because it's been the collective West over the past 20, 30 years that has been invading and stealing resources and regime change and color revolutions and doing whatever it's wanted to do without having to face any of the repercussions. So it's an interesting statement coming from Sanna Marin. If other countries outside of the collective West do it, well, they're bad. But if we in the collective West, if we invade Iraq and destroy Libya, try regime change in Syria, bomb Serbia, initiate a coup in Ukraine. If we do it, it's okay. But if they do it, well then, you know, this is just not good.
Will end, but we have to make sure that it will end Ukrainians win. I don't think that there's any other choice. If Russia would win the war, then we would only see decades of this kind of behavior ahead of us. I think other countries are looking very closely what is happening now in Ukraine. And if Russia would win, then it would send a message that you can invade another country, you can attack another country, and you can gain from that. Land, territory, or other things, natural resources or other things. And we have to send a message that is opposite, that Russia will lose. It will lose the war. Ukraine will push Russia back to its own territory, and that also means Crimea. It means that Ukraine will be whole again, and we together have to make sure that this will become reality, that there isn't a gain of attacking another country. And we have to, of course, stand behind the rule-based order as well.
So that was the Dancing Queen. And then after she gave her statement, she left the WEF event and she went clubbing. She went partying in Switzerland. I don't know about that. I'm sure she did, but that last part is just a joke. She's the Dancing Queen. She is the Dancing Queen. We had John Kerry, the ketchup prince. He's married into the Heinz ketchup family dynasty, the oligarchy of ketchup. He also gave a statement, something along the lines of Klaus Schwab, which was just more whining about how everyone that is attending the WEF we're stunning and brave and courageous because we're the leaders. We are the small group of people that has decided to jump on our private planes and save the world. So pat each other on the back. That was Kerry's statement.
And when you stop and think about it, it's pretty extraordinary that we, select group of human beings, because of whatever touched us at some point in our lives, are able to sit in a room and come together and actually talk about saving the planet. I mean, it's so almost extraterrestrial to think about, quote, saving the planet. And if you said that to most people, they think you're just a crazy tree-hugging, lefty, liberal, do-gooder, whatever, and there's no relationship. But really, that's where we are.
Look at us. Look at how brave we are, coming together in Davos so we can solve the world's problems and make the lives of the elite class better. Such a noble and such a brave and courageous act from the globalist elite. So that was Kerry's speech. Basically, it was an S show. It was a clown world, an evil clown world spectacle is how I would describe many of the statements and speeches at the WEF. Of course, the main topic of focus was Ukraine and how can we get more money to Ukraine. That's what everyone was discussing and talking about. Kissinger, he came out with a video statement speech, and he said that Ukraine should definitely get into NATO. That's his opinion. He said he's changed his mind since the start of the conflict, where he said that Ukraine should not get into NATO. Now Kissinger is all for Ukraine getting into NATO, so he's changed his tune. Maybe the fact that he was put on the Miro Trovets kill list, maybe that kind of changed his mind. I don't know, but he's all gung-ho now about Ukraine entering NATO. He says there's no other option. Dmitry Medvedev, he made fun of the WEF. He really laid into them. He basically said that the WEF, at one point in time, the WEF used to talk about economics and stuff like that, economic policy and financial issues. But now Medvedev was like, the WEF has just become another globalist institution lecturing the world on what is right and what is wrong, according to them, what is right and what is wrong. Let me see if I have a quote from Medvedev, because his quotes are always interesting. He was commenting on Andrzej Duda's speech, or his comments on a panel where he talked about getting more weapons to Ukraine. Basically, all of the EU leaders, including Van der Crazy, Duda, all they talked about was how do we get more money and weapons to Ukraine? That's all they cared about. But Duda was talking about getting more weapons to Ukraine. The Lithuanian president, Gitanas Nausėda, was also talking about how EU countries need to get all their money and weapons to Ukraine. And Medvedev said that this was a disgrace. What a disgrace, to say the least. The Davos Forum is discussing the delivery of tanks to Ukraine. That's what he wrote on Telegram. Previously in Davos, they discussed other things like the economy and stuff. That's what he pointed out. They used to talk about the economy and stuff. And he said it was good that Russian companies were skipping the event this year. Absolutely. The fact that Russia was not invited that's like a badge of honor. That is a badge of honor. There's a reason why Elon Musk turned down the invitation to Davos. He was invited to attend the forum, and he said no thank you, because Elon Musk knows that the WEF used to be a place where you would go and people would be like, wow, you were at the WEF? Maybe 5-6 years ago, that was like prestigious. Now, if you go to the WEF, it's like it's a joke. They think of you as some sort of puppet, some sort of clown now if you attend the WEF. Elon Musk is he's a marketing guru. He understands that, and that's why he said, me going to the WEF would just hurt my brand in a big, big way. So he told them, buzz off. Medvedev is right. There was a time where you could make the argument that the WEF would talk about economic issues and financial issues around the world, maybe like 5-10 years ago, but it has turned into just a clown world, an evil clown world, an evil circus. And Schwab knows it, and Kerry knows it. They all know it. So we had some big news yesterday that Baghdad Bob, Zelensky's theater buddy and best pal, Arestovich, he resigned. And the Zelensky regime, they accepted his resignation. And he resigned because of the whole Dnipropetrovsk apartment building incident, where Arestovich went on TV and he admitted that the tragedy that hit this apartment building was because of a Ukraine missile that just didn't do its job. And air defense, I think he said an S-300, but an air defense missile that just did not work well, and it ended up landing on this apartment building. This is according to Arestovich. He admitted that, and when he admitted that, the Zelensky regime, which is very, very concerned about optics, PR, media, they flipped out and they basically got Arestovich to resign. That's pretty much the summary of that story. He said the truth, and they're like, dude, you shouldn't be speaking truth. Now, why Arestovich said the truth? Well, he does have a big mouth. I mean, for that, there's no doubt about it. But maybe he wanted to get out. Maybe subconsciously he wanted to get out without even realizing it. He spoke some truth as to what happened in the Dnipropetrovsk area. Who knows? Maybe it was deliberate. Maybe his subconscious was acting to protect him. But either way, he's out. He got out, and he should consider himself lucky. We'll see what he does from now on. There are people talking about how he wants to take a crack at being president or something like that, but I don't know. I think if Arestovich was smart, he'll just take all of his millions and who knows, billions, whatever he has, and just disappear if he's smart about it. But we'll see. Maybe his ambition, his lust for power gets the better of him, and he decides to stick around and try to make a play at taking over when Zelensky collapses. Who knows? Putin's going to be giving a speech today, a very, very big speech. At least that's what we're being led to believe. But Peskov said that the rumors about it being some sort of change to the special military operation or declaration of war or more mobilization, Peskov said that we shouldn't be listening to rumors. So that is how Peskov replied to some of the speculation as to what Putin is going to be announcing. We'll see. We'll see later on in the day what he announces. One thing that Putin did do is that he took Russia out of all of these EU Council treaties yesterday, which is a big move, actually, because these treaties have been in place since the 40s, post-World War II treaties that deal with like human rights and stuff like that. And Russia signed on to these European Council treaties, I believe in like the 90s. And Putin told the parliament that it's time to take Russia out of these treaties, to withdraw from all of these treaties, human rights and EU, of course, the EU definition of human rights and the Convention for the Suppression of Terrorism and the Charter for Local Self-Government and the European Social Charter and the Charter for Immunities and Privileges. Anyway, all of these various treaties that the EU, that the architects of the post-World War put in place and Russia signed on to later in the mid to late 90s. And Russia's out. There's a statement from Putin basically saying, adios. We're gone. We're out of the system. It wasn't a fair system anyway, and this was a system that was now being used against Russia. So all of these treaties were being used to harm Russia. So why be a party to these treaties? Actually, there were 21 treaties in total, and they're going to cease to apply to Russia, starting from I guess today or tomorrow, or whenever the parliament enacts this withdrawal from these treaties. It's a big statement from Putin. It's a very big statement. It's basically the Russian president, the Russian government, saying that they are completely moving away from any ties that they had with Europe, and that all of these post-World War II treaties and documents and resolutions, they no longer apply to Russia. All they were doing was hampering Russia, demonizing Russia, holding Russia back, and now they're like, we're done with it. We don't need your human rights. We have our own definition of human rights, and we don't need the Europeans to lecture us and talk to us about these things. That's pretty much the statement from the Russian president. We also had some tragic news that just came in. I just don't know the full story yet, but a helicopter right outside of Kiev that was carrying the Ukraine interior minister, his deputy, some other officials and passengers, and some children as well, crashed, like right over, I believe, a school or a kindergarten, though the latest reports that I've read is that no children on the ground. This is what I read. This could change as the day goes along. No children on the ground were killed, but there were children that were injured. But anyway, the helicopter crash led to the death of everyone on board. And I think the latest count, and once again, I could be completely wrong in my numbers. I'm just working off of the memory I'm working off of memory from what I read on breaking news of this story. But I think the count of those dead was something like 12 or 14, including the Minister of the Interior for Ukraine, I believe. And last I read, there is an investigation now that's going to be opened, of course, and they're looking at equipment malfunction or perhaps a violation of security rules and maybe even sabotage for the reasons for the crash. This was around Kiev, so this was in no way related to missiles or anything like that, at least from my understanding. This was not some sort of missile attack by the Russians or anything like that. It seems like this was either an accident or some sort of malfunction, or I read something about training, security training as well, and something went wrong. Anyway, we'll find out more information as the day goes along. But this is a tragedy, and may everyone that died in this terrible crash, may they rest in peace, and hopefully the children that were injured in this crash, hopefully they get taken care of, and they're okay. So we had that tragic news, which is just breaking like 10-15 minutes ago. So trying to think if I have anything else. Germany has a new defense minister. I was going to say foreign minister. If only they had a new foreign minister. Germany has a new foreign minister who goes by the name of Boris Pistorius. He's the new defense minister following the resignation of Christine Lambrecht. Schultz confirmed the appointment yesterday. He called Pistorius an outstanding politician. And Habeck, he said that Pistorius is a very experienced politician who has the necessary strength of nerve in difficult situations. And Habeck started to talk about how Pistorius has to deal with very important decisions for Germany, for Berlin, with regards to weapons for Ukraine. weapons. That's where their mind is focused on, just like the WEF. The only thing that the WEF was about was weapons and money. Money, and weapons for the washing machine known as Zelensky. And let's do a clown world, and we'll wrap this video up. And in this clown world, we have to talk about the Australian Open. And they are banning the Russian and the Belarusian flag at the Australian Open. The story goes that a Ukrainian player, and I don't have the name. Oh wait, I do have the name. Katerina Bandel was in a first round match between Ukraine's Katerina Bandel and Russia's Kamila Rakimova on Monday, and allegedly Bandel was being taunted by fans in the crowd who were holding a Russian flag, and the Ukraine Tennis Association and her coaches and everyone started to complain to Australia, and the Australian officials, they said, the organizers of the event, they said, okay, no more Russian flag, and that's that. So you won't be able to hold the Russian flag if you are attending the Australian Open. I remember a time when athletes at that level, professional athletes, they would just tune out whatever the audience, whatever the fans were saying. And I mean, these athletes at that level, to be at that level of in your sport, they just had like the mental focus to just tune everything out, and they wouldn't even care how much they were being mocked or taunted or anything like that. Athletes like Jordan, I've seen interviews with Jordan. He would say how he would use the taunting, whether it was his opponents or whether it was the crowd. He would actually use it to fuel him and to get him even more pumped up and motivated. I guess now in today's world, no matter how bad the taunting is, and it could have been bad, but still, as an athlete, as a professional athlete at that level, you should just be like, I'm just going to use this to push me even harder. And you should just be able to tune all of that stuff out or use that stuff as motivation. Not in today's world. With that being said, there's one more. Here's one more clown world. A very, very quick clown world, which I spotted on, I think the Telegram channel Slaviangrad. I think they posted this, which is an interesting TV image, if I can find it here. And yes, here it is. And it's a TV image from Poland, which shows Lviv as part of Poland. This was, I guess, on a TV news show, TVP1, which I guess is a TV channel a news channel in Poland. Maybe their nightly TV show, and they had a map of Poland, and in that map you can see Lviv, right there. So that was an interesting image. Anyway, I'll wrap this video up, and let's stay tuned and see what Putin says in his big speech. And I'll have more news, hopefully, as the day progresses. Let's see. The Duran.locals.com. We are also on Rockfin. Duran shop, 10% off. Use the code GOODDAY. Take care.